Shuchita Poddar is a communication specialist in the University of Iowa's Office of Admissions, and she manages 3 student content teams. Why does she need 3 teams? We're going to find out right now. Welcome to Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager. I'm Jenny Li Fowler, award-winning social media professional, author, and podcast host, and a recognized voice across the social media marketing industry. Social media managers are navigating the wild, ever-changing world of higher ed communications, and I'm here to share the real stories and lessons behind the posts. Each episode explores the challenges, strategies, and untold moments that come with running social media accounts in today's digital landscape. Let's get into it. Shuchita, I am so happy to have met you and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jenny. It's so great to meet you.
Shuchita, one thing that I learned about you, which I think is incredible, is that you not only manage one, but 3 student content teams. Can you tell us about them?
Oh my God, absolutely. I love my student employees. So the 3 teams that I manage are the video team, which consists of 3 video producers and 3 hosts. Then I have my social media or marketing team, which consists of just one student, but she's my marketing assistant, helps me day to day with all of our back end stuff with social. And then I have a volunteer based blogger team. They're called Experience Iowa Bloggers, and it's about 12 of them. And they write blogs for admissions.
Okay, amazing. So the video team and your student social media manager, those are paid positions, but the bloggers are non-paid. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the first 2 are more student employee, work study based, and the other is completely just volunteer. If you have a passion for writing, no matter what major you are, you can join this team.
Okay, so that's amazing. First of all, I do want to ask you about your other teams, but I'm really curious about your blogging team. So let's start there. How are you even recruiting these bloggers, and how are even more difficult, how are you retaining them when you're not even paying them?
Well, okay, so I have very different setups. We'll start out with how we recruit them.
Okay.
And this is more, I will say, on the stalking side, quote unquote, of social that I do on my end. Is before the academic year starts or when the academic year starts and we're looking for prospective students, we're making an ongoing list of people that are posting about Iowa and their excitement about coming here. So we start creating that list, and once the admission cycle is over, May 1's done, and we need to do the outreach, we individualized outreach to those students before our official applications open up because they've already expressed interest in how much they like Iowa. So even if they don't apply, it's always just like, oh, we're going to get a good batch of students from these applications and just the people that we've seen post online, I guess.
Okay, so it's interesting that you say this is your stalking side, but because it's actually listening and monitoring, right? You're listening and you're monitoring, which we all do for
Mhm.
various reasons, but I've always thought it's a great recruitment tool to listen and monitor. So that's how you finding those the eligible bloggers, right?
So this is one of the ways that we're doing it, but we're
Okay.
also sending out mass emails to prospective students or incoming students about these opportunities and opening the applications to everybody. So it's not
Okay.
just the selected pool, but it's basically the entire class that we've recruited,
Amazing.
and
And
students can apply. Yeah.
so are you what are you looking for then? Like just you need solid writers, right? And
I
like
need people who are interested in Iowa or writing about their life at Iowa. They do not have to
mm,
be absolutely fantastic writers. Iowa is a writing school, yes, but that's not the only reason why people like writing. They might be a
mhm.
business student and they just enjoy writing, or is this something that they've seen growing up in shows like Gossip Girl, like, oh my God, I want to have my own blog, so let me write XOXO.
Okay,
So
so I love this. First of all, MIT has an student admissions blog, and I thought that was such an antiquated practice, but it's actually very successful. So it was really intriguing for me to know that there was a university, a much larger public university at that, that's using blogging as well to help with recruitment. But it seems like such an outdated practice. How are you finding that it's successful or working for you?
I mean, in the past, like this has kept developing over the years. When I first started in this role, I had the exact same thought process that who is reading blogs? This is the generation that is scrolling on TikTok. They're doom scrolling. But over the years, as I like create those reports and analyze what's working, I've seen our viewers or page views and just our traffic acquisition increase. I think over the
Oh,
past year or so, I think we increased the page views to by 37%.
really?
Yes, and like I think we acquired 44% new users. So it's still going all the way up. People are still interested. And I think that's because of how this team is and what the purpose of this team is,
Okay,
which is to just be authentic. They can write about anything that they want. We censor absolutely nothing. The only thing that I would go in and look for is accessibility and grammar just to make sure that we're following the rules.
sure.
Beyond that, they're free to write how much ever, how little ever, and just do whatever they want. And they come up with such fascinating things that as marketers, we only think of when it arrives like in the season, but not as something that we would market to students.
Okay.
And some of those blogs, like I wrote down those titles because they're so
Yes,
interesting. And
please share. Yeah.
one of them was Breaking Up in College and How to Cope. This is
Oh.
something that students go through, but we never think of it because it's never the topic that we would talk about. But it's a fantastic resource to have. Like, hey, this might have happened. What are the resources? What can you
So
do?
this is interesting because this is not something that's unique to University of Iowa, but because a University of Iowa blogger wrote about it, it will probably organically reach people that are searching for advice. And
Yes.
all of a sudden University of Iowa is on their radar and they're interested because
Mm-hmm.
of the people. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I
And
like
I
it.
think there's so many other topics like spring break in Iowa City, what I wasn't prepared for. So for an out of state student, this is fantastic. Like, yes, we want to tell you all like the things that you want to be prepared for, but you probably want to hear from somebody who just went through this.
But also, I would not imagine spring break there to be as crazy as maybe a Florida, but maybe I shouldn't think that. Is that what you're telling me?
Most of the spring season itself, just like the how weather fluctuates and what you should
Oh, I
invest
gotcha.
in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I yeah, it's more so like, oh, get an umbrella. Make sure you invest in a good umbrella, though. So
Okay.
it's things like that.
That's super helpful. I know I mentioned the MIT admissions blog, and they have the same strategies. They allow the students to talk about whatever they talk about, right? Or write about whatever they want to write about. And I think that now that it's it's working at MIT and it's working at University of Iowa, that's a pattern, right? And so I
Yeah.
think this is a really successful strategy that other people should look into. So, so speaking of success, what are the goals for the blog? And like, are they hitting those goals? And what does success look like?
Honestly, for us, success looks like two different things. So first is obviously with the numbers and all the fun stats. We don't have a benchmark because it keeps changing every year. Making sure that the content that our students are producing are not just staying on those blogs, they're also
Right.
sent out elsewhere so they can reach broader audiences like parents.
So it's a content engine.
Yes. And the other part was basically making sure that students are enjoying that they're writing this because we also don't want it to be like, oh, you were hired to write, so we expect this. I wouldn't want that. They were hired to do this because they enjoy doing it, and I don't want them to lose that interest. So as long as we're maintaining that, I think that's also what success looks like. And I think this year we like achieved 100% involvement
Retention.
rate. Yes,
That
involvement rate with them.
that's amazing. Like everyone wanted to come back. Is that what you're saying?
everybody wanted to come back. Everybody basically wrote how many blogs they were expected to write, even so they wrote more than what was
Wow.
expected of them. And they wrote every single month, which is something that we kind of dabbled with every now and then. So students would write, they're expected to write 2 blogs a month. And sometimes they would kind of slow down with with finals hitting. But this
Right.
time, nothing like that happened.
Wow. That's amazing. And that's 2 blogs a month during the academic year. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
So you did mention that you don't have a benchmark, which is kind of interesting to me. Is it because your numbers keep increasing?
It's because the numbers keep increasing, but it also depends on the blogger team we have. So sometimes we have 12, sometimes we have 10.
Okay.
So it's not it's not the most realistic benchmark to have,
Okay.
especially with the amount of blogs that students are writing. Sure, we can calculate 2 per blogger and like create those. But also I think it's almost diminishing the kind of work that they're doing because it's more so what kind of blogs they're writing. They're not given any topics. So there's nothing like set
Okay.
that we can compare it against.
Okay, I get that, because if you have 12 bloggers one year, 6 bloggers another, the output is not the same. And yeah, okay. But do you find percentage rate wise the hits to the blogs are pretty consistent?
I would say they keep increasing.
Oh, so see, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just keep increasing. And of course, it depends on the topics. It depends on which ones we've cross posted on different channels. But just on average, if I'm looking at a blog, they're hitting like the normal spots. Like everybody's like blogs are doing fantastically because it shows that they care about who they're writing for and what they wanted to hear when they were applying to the University of Iowa or colleges.
So I think you just paused because you saw me make a face, but the face was like, that is amazing. Like this is like, you know how we say people are not reading anymore, and this is not true, right? I think it's people are not reading things that are not interesting to them, right?
Mhm.
If it's authentic, and if it's interesting, then people are absolutely reading the content.
Yep.
Amazing. So I want to talk about another, like your other teams, but you also have a video production team which just undertook a huge project. Shuchita, can you tell us more about that?
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to my videographers that were here on campus last year and undertook this giant project. So, this project basically, we call it a Herky admit video. What happens in this video is Herky takes the spot, quote unquote, of a student going through the entire admit process.
Is Herky your mascot?
Herky is our mascot,
Okay.
yes.
And is that's at Hawkeye, out at Hawkeye?
Herky the Hawk.
A hawk. Okay. All right.
Herky the Hawk.
Okay.
We love Herky the Hawk. He's fantastic. In my opinion, best 10 mascot out there.
Fair.
You know,
Fair. Yeah.
biased, sure, but also true. But Herky basically receives an admit packet that we send out to students.
Okay.
And we take him through this journey of receiving the admit packet to graduation and everything in between a student will experience as like their life at Iowa. Within that entire time frame, we embed personalized spaces where students will see their names incoming. So, for example, I received an admit letter. Herky opens that admit letter and he can see, "Dear Shuchita, congratulations, you've been admitted to the University of Iowa." Or other places like we have a sandwich board and it says, "Welcome to Iowa City, Shuchita." So there's multiple spots during the video where you will find your name pop up. And I think this is one of those really cool things that if it's sent to a student that has applied, they will watch the entire thing because they're anticipating when their name's going to pop up and how
Yeah.
it's going to pop up. I can't even remember how many personalization spots we had, but there are too many of them.
Okay, so this is a perfect example of how you can take like a video and personalize it, right? And make it feel catered to a certain person. So it's Herky is it's sort of a first person journey through Herky, right?
Correct.
And can I ask, like, how do you keep it from, how do you have quality assurance that it's not going to say, like, welcome, insert name here? Like, have you gotten those
No.
emails? But I've received them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so,
Oh, yes.
yeah. So how do you make sure that doesn't happen?
Because we have the most fantastic IT team on campus.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
such a fantastic job. So this is not the first time this video has been created. We've been doing this for the past 10 years. This is the most recent version, and I think what makes it so special is that we're telling the story also through Instagram, which is where our students live and celebrate their milestones. So there's a bunch of transition pieces that they recognize instantly, like going on Instagram Live or posting a photo, Instagram story, Instagram feed.
And sharing the content.
Yes.
That's amazing. Wait, so just to clarify, University of Iowa has done this idea of this video for 10 years, but this is the first time that your team has taken it on. Is that correct?
So our team has created this in the past as well, but this is the most recent version because the shelf life is absolutely stunning for these videos.
Right. So you're saying you design them so they can stand the test of time. Is that right?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it has a shelf life of about 8 years because the last one that we created was 2018.
And they still resonate. Is that?
Yes.
That is. Or why do you think that is?
I think it's because the element of personalization is always the one thing that catches everybody's eyes, especially if it's like a 3-minute long video and you're seeing your name pop up multiple times. You kind of want to wait for the next moment and how and where it's going to pop up. Because in this current one, for example, we have plenty, but we have one that is a drone shot on a beach with somebody's name on it. Or like our student newspaper called the Daily Iowan, so we have something called Welcome the Newest Hawkeye, and we then insert the person's name. We have a place where we also insert their location, their hometown location versus how far they're from the University of Iowa. So there are just like multiple spots that they're like, oh my god, that's so cool. How did they do this? That's the wow factor, and I think that's what sticks out so much and stands the test of time.
It does sound like you are going that extra mile or making that extra effort to make it feel really authentic. When you said names their hometown, like my jaw dropped because I just really feel like that's probably really resonates to the students.
I think it's also so special because especially if it's somebody who's from farther away and they recognize like their small town. And so I came in as an international student. If I saw that being like, oh, Gurgaon, India, and with like 8,000, 9,000 miles away, whatever that is, I do not know. I do not do miles, but like,
Fair. Yeah.
Whatever that number is, I'd be like, oh my God, how did they know this like city existed?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like things like those, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute. When I saw the finished product with my name on it, I didn't go to Iowa, but when I saw that name, I was like, I wish I went to Iowa.
Yeah. And then when they're taking screenshots or sharing that little moment, right, your impressions and your reach really probably grow a ton.
Yes.
Wow.
So we host them like on our IT has created a custom built platform where these are hosted. So it's not, we don't even use a third party. So everything is in-house, and we have features where they can share it on X and Facebook directly. But I've also seen people share like screenshots on Instagram stories like, oh my God, this is so cute.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, that's like highly shareable content. I mean, authenticity in personalization is so hard to scale. Like, I mean, how are you doing that? I mean, it sounds like it's created in-house, it's managed in-house, right? It's not a third-party platform, but do you have any other like tips or recommend, like how else, like what else is in the secret sauce of you guys being able to do this to scale?
Honestly, I think when we were creating this video, one of the most important elements was to talk to our students every single time we were trying to go through a scene, and we're like, hey, do students still look at it the same way? Because sure, I might be still close to their age, but I'm not their age. Like newspapers, for example.
It's
For
so
me,
true. Yeah.
it's a big deal. I love newspapers, and it might not be true for 17-year-olds because newspapers probably don't exist for them in a certain way.
Oh man.
So
Oh man, that makes me sad. But yeah, it's a
yeah,
really true observation. So how do you are you getting feedback from them every year when they after they get the video, or how often are you getting feedback from them?
we don't get feedback as much. When we send out those emails, like with admit packets and like, or the admit emails, we receive just general emails like, "Oh my god, this was so cool! Like, how did you do this?" and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
But when we're asking, when it's in the creation process, that's the big
That's when you
time.
get the
Yes.
feedback. Okay. Can you talk to me about how you're getting those observations and seeing if the content is still relevant? How are you doing
Yes. So initially, when we were starting to make the script, I just basically make a big word vomit, is what I like to call it. Like,
that?
hey,
Yes.
these are all the scenes that I would like. Over ambitious, absolutely, and that's the whole point of cutting them down. And then I sat with my video team last year when we were going through like these scripts. I'm like, oh, like, what do you think about this scene? What do you think? Like, do you think students are gonna like it? Do you think this is something that you would find like appealing or interesting? If not, let's chuck it. Are
Okay.
there other things that you think are more interesting? So having those and also having more liberty to experiment with how we're filming, so the cinematography part of it as well, because all the two videographers that we have are film students or cinema students. So they've
Okay.
probably watched a billion of billion movies, and we're just like trying to cater to that as well. They're like, hey, what's a fun angle that you want to use? And I think one thing we wanted to do but wasn't feasible was the Pulp Fiction like trunk shot.
Oh,
And
okay.
so like just like things like that that we wanted to include their perspective, like, oh, what do you think is cool? What is the last movie
Okay.
you watched? What stuck out to you? So that's how we're also getting feedback and just like aspects that me as one person or me and my boss as two people would not probably think about,
Right.
because it's just a constant thing that we're like, oh, this is a great video, sure. But those students are living those.
Yeah. The students are actually part of the creative process. And these are students that probably just received the video last year or the year before, and it sounds like when you do take it on, when you do make a new one, it does sound like it's pie in the sky. Let's think of everything we possibly could want to do and then edit down from there to the like what's the most relevant trendy content. I applaud that. I really like that process. Shuchita, what is your confession?
Oh my god. Okay, I thought about this so much. My biggest confession, especially when I listened to all of your other episodes. Okay. I was like, what would be mine if I was ever on Jenny's podcast? What would be my like
Oh, I
confession?
love it.
And so this is maybe a confession, maybe a hot take. I will let the audience decide.
Okay.
But aesthetics matter.
Hmm.
And when I say aesthetics matter, I don't mean that every single photo that you post on your feed needs to be color coordinated or
Right.
in a certain thematic aspect, but I do mean that it needs to be clean. It needs to be almost Pinterest and Visco-esque, that when somebody discovers your account, you make them dwell. You make them want to scroll. It's through highlights, it's through your feed photos. It could be literally anything you want. And when you're the one running the channel, posting it, it's so easy to see what the next post is. And you can just easily swap those pictures out.
Hmm.
And apart from that, this generation that we're catering to really cares about aesthetics.
Well, I mean, I care about aesthetics, and it's not.
I mean,
I know that
yes.
I'm not the generation you were talking about, but I would agree 100%. I do think that all of our posts are a part of a larger story, right? And what's
Hmm.
your timeline is, or your feed is that story that you're telling. I say this
Exactly.
all the time. It's real. So, what story are you telling? It's important to have like a voice and a tone
Mhm.
clear, right?
Exactly. Like you can't have three photos and two reels and like another like landscape. No. Nobody's, even I am not gonna watch like more than two posts beyond that. If I see anything that's just cluttered, my brain is gonna feel overwhelmed, because social media is oversaturated at this
Yeah,
point. So if you're not making it easy for your audience to navigate through your feed, which
right.
is the simplest thing, in my opinion,
They're not
just They're not going to stay.
Yeah, and they're not going to follow you. Yep.
Nope.
I agree 100%. Shuchita, I'm trying something new with the podcast. And at the very end, after the confession question, I'm going to do something I'm calling office hours. So these are my office hours. What would you like to ask me? And you can ask me anything.
Okay, Jenny, I've been dying to ask you this. So, your first book came out, and I think we're all awaiting a sequel. Can you tell us if that's going to happen, or what's the situation? Can you give us the tea?
Okay, this is so funny because this question was not planted, but B, it is timely because I always get nervous about like revealing things like this, but I am working on a second edition of the book. Thank you. And it's, I mean, a lot of the foundational framework and things are the same, but I'll have new content, like on AI and influencer marketing. So, yeah, I guess thank you for asking that question, Shuchita. And yeah, keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy that as soon as it launches, of course. Are there like any particular sections that you're particularly excited to write about that are not more foundational? I mean, you mentioned AI and influencer market, and AI is also constantly changing right now. So how
Yeah.
you're like kind of, I
Right.
guess.
I know. So the way I'm wrapping my brain around it is from the lens that we're in the process of. Like, I don't say anything definitive. I think I literally say changing instead of changed our lives because it's still in the process of, it's still unfolding, right? But the thing that I'm trying to write and add value to the conversation is like I'm going to show like what like my thought process, how I use it, how I like to use it, how I don't like to use it. If you do use it, what I recommend. So it's very sort of a case study, I guess, and it's very from my thinking, my thought process of utilizing it, as well as like how I like to utilize it at the current moment with where the technology is at the moment. So,
Oh my God, I cannot wait. Every single platform you open, every single conference you go to, AI, AI, AI. Everybody's talking about AI. So many different platforms, and people just pick and choose whichever works for them, which is great. But also, I think there can be easier pathways for people starting out to just use AI, especially for social. And I think with all your work that you've done with the first book, it's going to be so helpful. So I'm really glad that you're writing about that.
oh, well, wow. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Shuchita. And you have been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing your insights about your student content teams. I really appreciated that.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, Jenny. I feel like such a fangirl right now. I've been trying to hold it in.
Thanks for listening to Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager. This show is a proud member of the Enrollify network, home to higher ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow, so be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit Enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.